Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 24th of July. India's COVID-19 cases, death rate per million among lowest in the world, says Health Minister. Freed Taliban prisoners have returned to battlefield, says Afghan government. And floods and landslides kill at least 132 in Nepal. And now for all the details. India undertook the COVID-19 challenge with the highest level of political commitment, Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan said on Friday as he participated in a meeting of the health ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states. The health minister said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally monitored the situation and ensured a preemptive, proactive and graded response to tackle the crisis.
India's Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan on Friday said India has one of the lowest cases and deaths per million in the world, while adding that India has so far reported 1.25 million coronavirus cases and more than 30,000 fatalities due to the deadly virus. Participating in a meeting of the health ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states through video conferencing, Harsh Vardhan said that India undertook the COVID-19 challenge with the highest level of political commitment.
We in India undertook the COVID-19 challenge with the highest level of political commitment. Our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi personally monitored the situation and ensured a preemptive, proactive and graded response, leaving no stones unturned to contain the deadly virus.
India reported the highest single-day spike of 49,310 coronavirus cases on Friday, taking the total to 1,287,945, including 440,135 active cases and 817,209 cured or discharged or migrated. Meanwhile, India's Interior Ministry on Friday issued an advisory for the Independence Day celebrations on August 15 amid the coronavirus pandemic. It has asked all the government offices, states, governors and others to avoid congregation of public and use of technology for the celebrations. The ministry said COVID warriors like doctors, health and sanitation workers should be invited in the ceremony as a recognition of their service of battling the pandemic. It said some people who have recovered from the infection might also be invited.
India has accused Pakistan of stalling the process of providing legal assistance to Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav, who is on death row in Pakistan on charges of espionage. India's Foreign Ministry said Pakistan's recent move of approaching the Islamabad High Court for the appointment of a lawyer for a review of Jadhav's sentence by a military court is in violation of ICJ judgment.
India's foreign ministry said that Pakistan blocked 12 requests by India for unimpeded consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav, the Indian national sentenced to death on charges of espionage, preventing all his avenues for legal remedy. In the weekly press briefing of Foreign Ministry, spokesperson Anurag Shrivastava said a petition to review the death sentence by a Pakistan military court could not be filed because of the absence of the documents that required Jadhav's signature. He accused Pakistan of adopting a farcical approach in handling the case, defying the International Court of Justice or ICJ, and added India is exploring all available options in the case.
Now, in the absence of both meaningful consular access as well as relevant documents, as a last resort, we tried to file his review petition in court on the 18th of July. However, our Pakistani lawyer was informed that a review petition could not be filed in the absence of a power of attorney and the supporting documents.
50-year-old retired Indian Navy officer Jadhav was sentenced to death by the Pakistani military court on charges of espionage and terrorism in April 2017. India approached the ICJ against Pakistan for denial of consular access to Jadhav and challenging the death sentence. In July last year, the ICJ had directed Pakistan to allow consular access to Jadhav and effectively review his death sentence.
Traders in Pakistan's Karachi city are struggling to make ends meet amid smart lockdown imposed to stem coronavirus spread. Although they have been allowed to function, businesses are bogged down by low demand, labour shortages and new rules of operation.
Traders and business owners in Pakistan's financial capital Karachi have appealed the government to remove restrictions on them amid coronavirus lockdown. The government of Sindh, of which Karachi is the capital, has extended the province-wide coronavirus lockdown restrictions till August 15. Business owners have said that opening of shops 5 days a week from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. as per government orders is not enough for sustainable operations and they are facing huge losses. Sheikh Habib, chairman of Karachi Sindh Tajir Ittihad, an association of business community, said businesses have been severely impacted and are staring at an uncertain future.
और ये तबाही की तरफ जो है पाकिस्तान जाने के लिए धाने पे खड़ा हुआ है सब। और मैं समझता हूँ प्राइम मिनिस्टर पाकिस्तान को ये समझना होगा कि अगर कोरोना की सूरत हाल में अगर हमने लॉकडाउन के साथ अगर बिजनेस को चालू नहीं रखा, SOPs के मुताबिक अगर हमने कारोबार को वसी नहीं किया, कारोबार को हमने नहीं चलाया, क्योंकि कोरोना की वैक्सीन का भी कुछ नहीं पता कि कब तक दरियाफ्त होगी, कब तक ये आएगी। अगर हम इसी उसमें रहे तो मैं ये समझता हूँ कि हम बड़ी परेशानी में आ जाएंगे।
As of Friday, Pakistan reported 270,400 confirmed cases of coronavirus with 5,763 deaths so far. Pakistan's already fragile economy had only just been moving towards stability when the health crisis struck. Experts fear that the pandemic's economic fallout will considerably derail the country's recovery process.
In a major development, Afghanistan's Office of National Security Council has said that released Taliban prisoners returned to the battlefields in defiance of their commitments not to rejoin the war. This comes as violence continues to expand in multiple fronts across Afghanistan despite international calls on the Taliban to reduce violence.
Afghanistan's Office of National Security Council or ONSC said on Thursday that in defiance of their commitments not to rejoin the war, a number of Taliban prisoners who were released from the Afghan government jails have reintegrated their colleagues on the battlefields. Taking to Twitter, Office of the National Security Council spokesperson Javed Faisal said the Taliban fighters signed on the papers and committed that they will not return to the war. Regrettably, some of these inmates have returned to the war fronts in defiance of the expectations of the Afghan people. This comes as violence continues to expand at multiple fronts across the country despite international calls on the Taliban to reduce violence. The Taliban, however, have rejected such reports. Afghan Taliban political spokesperson Suhail Shaheen said on Thursday that the Islamist group will be ready for intra-Afghan negotiations immediately after Eid ul-Azha if the government frees hundreds of their prisoners. Some former Taliban commanders have urged the release of the remaining 600 Taliban prisoners from the total of 5,000 demanded by the group under the Doha peace agreement from the government. The Afghan government has so far released 4,245 prisoners from the jails. In exchange, the Taliban have released over 860 government hostages.
In news from Nepal, Nepal has been battling flash floods and landslides that have killed at least 132 people since June. Landslides and flash floods are a common occurrence in mountainous Nepal during the June to September monsoon season.
Heavy rains which have triggered flash floods and landslides has killed at least 132 people and displaced millions in Nepal since June. Incessant rains have lashed Nepal for days as landslides and flood waters swept away homes, destroyed roads, bridges and inundated large swathes of farmlands. The monsoon took effect from 12th of June this year and the floods and landslides have affected life in 70 of the 77 districts in the Himalayan nation. Nepal's Department of Meteorology and Hydrology has issued warning that heavy rainfall will continue for coming days, which bears the capacity to ravage the situation around the nation. Landslides and flash floods are a common occurrence in mountainous Nepal during the June to September monsoon season every year.
Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has said the program to provide 100,000 jobs will be implemented as soon as the general election is over. Sri Lanka is set to hold parliamentary election on 5th of August. Mahinda Rajapaksa is leading his party to retain his premiership.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has said the program to provide 100,000 jobs will be implemented as soon as the general election is over. Addressing election rallies on Thursday to campaign for candidates of his ruling Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna or SLPP, Rajapaksa said the program was temporarily suspended according to the instructions of the Election Commission. He said the country is in need of a group of people who would be committed to build the country according to the President's vision. In this parliamentary election, Mahinda Rajapaksa is leading his party to retain his premiership. The parliamentary elections to be held on 5th of August were earlier twice postponed due to coronavirus outbreak. As of Thursday evening, Sri Lanka reported 2,752 confirmed cases of coronavirus with 11 deaths so far.
Domicile certificates were issued on Thursday to refugees from West Pakistan who have been living in India's Jammu and Kashmir for the past several decades. The beneficiaries expressed happiness to receive permanent residency, which will enable them to buy land and apply for jobs in India.
Domicile certificates were issued to West Pakistani refugees in Jammu city of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory on Thursday. Hindu and Sikh refugees migrated to Jammu from undivided Punjab province during the 1947 partition to escape religious persecution when majority Hindu India and majority Muslim Pakistan became separate countries. The refugees had been demanding citizenship as they say they have lived in the Union Territory for more than 70 years. They expressed happiness to receive permanent residency as the certificate will enable them to buy land and allow their children to apply for jobs in India.
इस क्षेत्र में अभी तक हम लगभग 2000 के करीब डोमिसाइल इशू कर चुके हैं और जैसे जैसे लोग आ रहे हैं उनको डोमिसाइल मिल रहा है.
The beneficiaries hailed the Indian government's 2019 move to abrogate the special status of Jammu and Kashmir, which they say has paved the way for them to get domicile certificates after residing in the region for several decades.
Women in India's central Bhopal city prepared Rakhis, a sacred thread tied on wrists of brothers by sisters on Hindu sibling festival, as they urged the people to boycott Chinese products amid the tensions at the border after 20 Indian soldiers were killed in clashes with Chinese troops.
Women residing at Nirbhaya Women's Shelter in India's central Bhopal city were seen making colourful Rakhis using different types of thread, jute and decorative items to promote indigenous items. Rakhi is a sacred thread tied on wrists of brothers by sisters on Hindu sibling festival Raksha Bandhan. As they prepared Rakhis, they urged the people to boycott Chinese products amid the tensions at the border after 20 Indian soldiers were killed in clashes with Chinese troops.
राखी एक प्रेम का धागा है जो बहनें अपने भाई को बड़े विश्वास के साथ बांधती हैं और भाई उनको ये आश्वासन देते हैं कि हम आपकी सुरक्षा करेंगे और वही भाई जब बॉर्डर पे जा रहे हैं तो वही चाइना उन पर इस तरह से प्रहार कर रही है और उन्हीं का धागा लेकर हम उनको बांधे तो इससे बड़ी बात तो कोई बुरी हो ही नहीं सकती कि हम उन भाइयों को वही राखी बांधे। तो मेरा सभी बहनों से ये आह्वान है कि हम उन भाइयों को वो प्रेम का धागा बांधे जो हम अपने हाथ से तैयार करें।
With the sibling festival of Raksha Bandhan around the corner, markets are buzzing with customers buying designer India-made Rakhis in northern Shimla and Moradabad cities this week as they choose to boycott Chinese Rakhis. Anti-China sentiment has long simmered in India over accusations of cheap imports flooding the country. But the border clash has brought tensions to the fore, with calls being made to boycott Chinese products. Both countries have blamed each other for triggering the clash in the Galwan Valley, the deadliest between the neighbours in at least 5 decades.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter at @SAJNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend.